Unfortunately, there was supposed to be two alleged shootings at colleges today. Um, Unfortunately, with the one at Villanova, as of an hour ago, it was an unfortunate hoax. With that being said, we're going to go to the press conference and how they figured everything out. And shout out to the AP for this. Turn this up. Thought there would be some sound. Hold on. I thought there was some audio with this. Okay, it's home. Trying to find some audio. Here we go.
Buildings. We're not sure what those buildings are, but at one point it looked like law enforcement was talking to students or residents on the ground, perhaps to try to get some more information on what exactly happened here.
And the unsettling part here is you mentioned this call came out over an hour ago, and here we are still waiting on a word that the threat has either been neutralized or there's been an arrest or what have you. So imagine being a parent or student and sheltering in place and still just waiting all this time for word that it's all clear. That's not the case. We're still waiting on any kind of good news here right outside the campus. And just looking at body language of officers there would tell you this is not over yet. So as soon as we hear anything, we're monitoring every channel you can imagine from the website there at the university, which is timed out at times. Looks like everybody's trying to go to the site. Radnor Township Police, all of our accounts here in-house, doing our best to try to see if there's any good news to share with you, and nothing quite yet. We did hear from DA Jack Stolzheimer, who is on the scene. Governor Shapiro has just tweeted saying that PA State Police and local and federal law enforcement are there at the university responding to reports of an active shooter. He says to avoid the area, follow the direction of local authorities. So that's all the information the governor's office has at this point, and that's all we have to go on.
Also, someone tweeting out that they are currently hiding and locked down in a utility closet, and that an HR rep just came over to clarify the situation. So folks are finding the best safe place for them right now to stay in place until the situation has been deemed all clear.
The videos that were out there are of people sheltering in place and are of people seeking shelter. Nothing that would indicate gunshots in the background or anything like that, so that's good news. I'm just trying to cling to anything positive I can here in this situation. The students locked down, the doors are locked, they're not able to, no one would be able to enter except police probably in this situation, so they're having to go from building to building. Again, it's starting at the Scarpa Hall there at the law school, which is right near Ithan and County Line Road. So I'm not sure where that outdoor mass was happening, but it couldn't be far.
Jason.
Oh, go ahead, Dawn.
Yeah, Jason. Apparently the freshmen moved in yesterday, so it's really only the freshmen who are on campus and orientation leaders. Upperclassmen are supposed to move in this weekend, and then classes start next week. Today was apparently a parent new student mass that you were talking about, and that's basically where the parents say goodbye, hand the kids over to the university. It's an emotional time, as you mentioned, Sheba, for these students. They're moving, starting college, and a mass part of their freshman experience. And then there is a picnic after that, and that's when the parents leave. But I imagine there are a lot of parents who hadn't pulled out yet and are still around, worried sick for their children, because this is not what you would expect when you drop your freshman off to Villanova University. And today, the official first full day of orientation, and then you get an active shooter notification on your cell phone telling you to shelter in place and to barricade yourself wherever you are. That has to be so scary, not just for students and parents, even faculty, anyone who's on campus right now. And you can see the flashing lights really as far as the eye can see all the way up the hill. And still, we've been here for almost 45 minutes, closing in on an hour, and we are still seeing police arriving here on scene in SWAT gear, armed with long rifles, walking up this hill to the scene for this active shooter investigation.
All right. Dawn, hang on here. We just got an update from Radnor Police saying that continue to shelter in place, but they say no reported victims at this time. So it sounds like it's not all clear, but as they continue to search and clear buildings, at this point, as they go from building to building, they've found no evidence of any victims. So this is the latest. It says if you're sheltering, stay in place until a police officer guides you. But there's the tweet. Let's read the whole thing. Radnor Township Police Department and assisting units are continuing to clear buildings in Villanova. The incident remains active. At this time, there are no reported victims. So I guess that's a good news, bad news situation. It's not over yet. They're still trying to find a potential shooter. Maybe, just maybe, it's a false alarm. But let's hope.
There she is.
Oh, hi again.
Just maybe it's a false alarm. But let's hope.
Yeah.
That's my hope. But certainly it's not. It's still happening. I don't know how this call came out or who made the report or called it in. But at this point, they're still trying to verify what in the world is going on. So I think a lot of confusion at this point.
Absolutely. So that clears up the reports regarding the possible gunman holed up inside the law school building. So that does not appear to be accurate based on this Radnor PD tweet here. But it explains the large police presence that they need to thoroughly check every building and make sure it's cleared before they can lift the shelter-in-place order. Jason mentioned this tweet from the governor, so let's look at it in full here. He, of course, tweeting about the Villanova University incident here with an active shooter on campus, saying that PA State Police, local and federal law enforcement are on site at Villanova University responding to reports of an active shooter. Avoid the area, follow direction of local authorities. We will share additional information as it becomes available.
So now we at least know what's taking so long, and that is for the hundreds and hundreds of officers there to go from building to building, classroom to classroom, room to room, looking for a potential shooter who might be hiding. And no reported victims at this time. That is fantastic news, because we had earlier heard that there was one.
Yeah. You were looking for some good news, right? We were all looking for some good news, and there you have it. So just to take you back to 4:34 this afternoon, this is the alert that students received. Active shooter incident, warning, active shooter on campus, move to secure location, lock and barricade doors, more info to follow. All of this coming when brand new students, freshmen, were at an outdoor mass. And then this alert comes over, everyone runs to safety and locks themselves and gets to a safe place behind closed doors.
Dawn, if you can still hear us, what are you seeing? Are you still seeing, there's more officers arriving?
Yep. Yeah, more officers are arriving as we speak, walking up to this scene. Again, you just read the tweet from the Radnor Township Police Superintendent, who says all information will be coming from them. They are assisting and helping to clear buildings at Villanova University. This situation remains active. Residents who live nearby are being told to shelter in place. Students, faculty, everyone being told to shelter in place. But as I said, since we arrived, we just continue to see a line of police officers, law enforcement, officers armed in SWAT gear, making their way up the road here for the situation. Now, I will say, when we first arrived, we saw law enforcement running, literally running up the street. We saw cars peeling by, and here comes another car with its flashers on. We haven't seen that. We see law enforcement walking up the hill. Again, we originally heard that there may have been one victim, but Radnor Township Police are saying that is not the case. So fingers crossed. But again, hundreds of law enforcement from Montgomery, Delaware, and Chester counties here on scene, armed, SWAT, in full gear, responding to this active shooter investigation on Villanova University just as freshman orientation was happening. So again, just the freshmen on campus, their orientation leaders, their parents as well, were here earlier, and I presume many are still here with their students because obviously a super, super scary situation.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. I mean, that outdoor mass, perhaps it included the parents as well, as we're getting all of this information into our newsroom here. But again, Radnor PD saying that the incident remains active. Dawn, I must say, at some point in your live shot here, I thought things had turned a bit calmer because we saw those police officers just calmly walking past you, but those vehicles are still zooming in very quickly to aid in the search for a possible active shooter here. Hearing from Radnor PD about 7 minutes ago that numerous law enforcement are continuing to clear the buildings, that the incident still remains active at this time, and people are still being urged to shelter in place.
Yeah, I guess, and the tough part is I'm thinking about the freshmen, right? They're just getting there. Do they really know the lay of the land? Do they know the school? Do they know the ins and outs?
Yeah, exactly.
So as they're told
Do they know how to get safe?
That's the other point. These are freshmen. They just arrived unpacking, and they probably are not familiar with the campus. They probably do not know their way around, making this even more unsettling and frightening. If you're out at a mass or you're just walking around trying to get the lay of the land, and all of a sudden you get a text saying shelter in place, find a place to hide and barricade yourself inside. That is super scary, especially if you are not familiar with where you are. Imagine when you were a freshman in college, just trying to figure out where everything was, and now they're faced with this situation. And again, here come more law enforcement walking down the street in SWAT gear, armed, and walking down the street. You mentioned earlier we saw law enforcement running down the street, but the point is they're still arriving, and Radnor Police say this is still an active situation, and they are going building to building. Initially, the reports came in that it was by the law school, but now we're hearing that from Radnor Police that they are searching buildings on campus for this active shooter investigation. And I think it's important to note too that how critical these notifications are for students, that they got this alert. It came down around 4:30 this afternoon, alerting students so they would know what to do, so they would know that they need to stay where they are, they need to barricade themselves inside, and not to be wandering around campus investigating.
Yeah. And, you mentioned freshmen. There are fall sports athletes there. They've been there for some time, training for the season. You got to think about them, too.
Right.
Are they out practicing on the field? Do they have to run into the locker room? There's just a lot to think about here from everybody's perspectives. Where did they go? And some still sheltering in place right now, waiting for word of an all clear.
But from your vantage point, Dawn, it looks like all of the law enforcement officers are headed straight down the road. No one's veering off into the woods at this point or anything.
No, Shiva, we're just trying to walk down to get a little bit better vantage point, and see as much as we can see, while also trying to stay safe. We have a resident here, obviously, coming out of his home. Sir, have you been told anything? Did you get any kind of alert?
On the Philadelphia Inquirer, and they said active shooter, one person shot, but not killed, as far as we know.
Right. Well, Radnor Police just tweeting that nobody was injured, that it's still active. I mean, how unsettling is this? I mean, you're the street where you live is filled with law enforcement.
Nice and quiet.
Normally, it's a nice and quiet.
The law school is the quietest. They were just in there studying all the time, so we've never heard a word, not one word. So I didn't see or hear anything here because I've been watching for about 20 minutes, but this is like crazy.
And these are armed law enforcement running down your street.
Well, they're walking, and it's all blocked right now, so they're still looking for it. Helicopters have been here for an hour or so. And how about you guys?
What goes through your mind?
No, nothing. I've lived here for 27 years. Nothing like this has ever happened before. So, a unique incident, terrible, but not uncommon in this day and age. Rejected law school student or something like that. You know, you got to surmise something.
What is your name, sir?
Stan Ewing.
And how long have you lived here?
27 years.
27 years. And you said nothing like this has ever happened?
No. And the university doesn't make a peep either. The neighbors were all nervous when they built the new law school there, but not a peep out of anything here, so.
Have police said anything to you as they've come by?
No, we got all our information from the Inquirer online. So they're good about that.
Are you nervous? Because apparently this active shooter has not been captured, and we keep seeing more and more law enforcement walking down your street, some of them running, armed with long guns and shields. And
no, I'm in medicine, and so, you know, I don't work in the emergency room, no, thank goodness. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this, really. It's incredible.
With the commotion of just the officers coming through, that's the first you...
Well, yeah, no, I just said, oh my God, there really are quite a few cars out here. Can we go that way? So I was supposed to go somewhere, but this is amazing, you guys.
well, I guess Radnor Police are actually telling residents to shelter in place, so they're asking people who live nearby to stay put. I don't know if you saw any of those alerts.
No, they were all online. They said, stay in place, under shelter, don't come out. I said, I was talking to the one guy there just for a second, and he said, all right, that's fine. Right, guys?
All right, thank you. Thank you, appreciate it. So, there you have it. This was a gentleman who lives along the road, who has been watching law enforcement speeding by his house, trying to figure out, just like we are, exactly what's happened, but saying, Jason and Shiva, nothing like this has ever happened in this neighborhood before, and he's lived here for 27 years.
Yeah, Dawn, thank you. We just got an update that there was a Rider versus Villanova soccer match, men's soccer happening as this alert came out. And mid-game, they had to stop the game. Here's video of it. As they all get the alert, look at the stands on the right. People who are watching, everybody starts running to safety. Yeah, the players as well getting out of there. This is an hour ago, just over an hour ago, as this game was going on. So as we're learning, it wasn't just freshmen. It was a whole soccer field's worth of athletes, trainers, coaches, and fans who ran somewhere in this area, tried to seek shelter somewhere. Maybe they just ran away, but an unsettling moment there at this Villanova soccer game.
Villanova's broadcaster initially thought it was due to a potential lightning strike before cutting the broadcast to break after everybody learned about the active shooter alert. So now we know that the fall sport athletes are on campus. We talked about the freshmen, some of them at that outdoor mass today as well, when the news came over their phones that there's an active shooter on campus.
Now you're looking live again on the ground. That is think she said she was Spring Mill Road is where Dawn was, which is to the northeast of the law school, is where the reports came out that they're searching room to room in the law school. But again, Radnor police saying no reports of any injuries. So they continue to search for an active shooter. Over an hour away, you think, okay, is it a false alarm? Is it some kind of sick prank? I mean, I guess that's the best case scenario, right? I mean, you think about lives and safety, but man, there's so many students right now still sheltering in place. What must be going through their minds and the parents as well?
Our John Timoney, just speaking to the neighbor there, fairly calm about what's going on in his neighborhood, considering that this is the first time he has seen law enforcement take over his neighborhood. But we've been trying to get a sense of where the law school, Scarpa Hall, where we initially were told that that's where police were asking students and residents to stay away from, that is a very short distance from his home there, so a very short distance from the view you're seeing here, as where the primary location of the lockdown had been issued probably about an hour ago at this point, because again, the first alert's coming over around 4:30 this afternoon.
Sky Fox over there on the left. Is that a live Sky Fox shot on the left? Yes, it is. I think the shot is being left wide intentionally at this point, as police go room to room, maybe for the safety of the officers and the operation happening on the ground. But from here, I mean, it's really hard to make out what's happening on campus. Obviously, a police response that is just overwhelming, going from class to class, even possibly searching residence halls, dorm rooms, that sort of thing.
Yeah, building to building, as Radnor Township Police put it. This view from Sky Fox looks like where Dawn is from high above. Can't be for sure, but it looks like it off in the distance there. If you go through the trees there, it looks like it might be where Dawn is.
And Lancaster Road shut down, which is the main road that goes through Villanova as well, so there's no getting by. The neighborhood's pretty much shut down as well. So we're all waiting. That's what we're doing right now, just waiting for any word. But you have to think this could take some time as they try to clear every room and nook and cranny of the university. You don't want to clear it, and then it's it's a little too soon to do that. So we have to bear with the authorities. They know what they're doing. They're trained for this. And so we wait for an alert from Radnor Township Police, which has been really good at updating us moment by moment here. They're probably taking the lead on this situation, even though there are agencies from all over, counties, states, and whatnot. So we're monitoring just along with you. Website, Twitter accounts, you name it.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Villanova president saying in an email. All right, we need to confirm this report here.
Well, I have the latest from the Villanova University website saying lockdown remains in place, heavy police presence on campus, remain indoors, do not leave, secure rooms or buildings. So that came out here in the last couple of minutes on the university website. So the threat is not over just yet. It's looking promising at this point, but it's certainly still active.
According to the last tweet from Radnor PD, we do know that, yes, it is still an active search here. You can see an officer here in the grass between the trees here, and a number of officers still racing to the scene to help out in the search. At one point, we quite possibly believe that the shooter had been, isolated to one particular building, perhaps a law school. But just based on that tweet from Radnor PD just minutes ago, we know that is not the case, that they are searching building by building, trying to find this active shooter.
We don't know how
if the shooter is still there.
Yeah.
And if there is, in fact, a shooter. So there was the police officer out there between the trees.
It's interesting. We'll find out. But how did the call come in? Was it a student? Was it a 911 call? Was it a fire alarm that somebody pulled? I don't know. A text? There's many ways this could have come in. So that would have helped us understand sort of where and what happened.
Did anybody hear shots?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Jen Fred, are you with us? Jen Frederick. Okay, we're going to get her on the phone. She certainly knows the area and is familiar with Villanova and the campus. As soon as we get her I'm sure she's got an update for us there. Okay, we're trying to get her on the phone. We'll get her signal figured out, and as soon as we do, we'll bring it to you. But it looks like this particular officer, is he putting up police tape or taking it down?
Looks like he's removing it.
This we're looking at on the right. If you're just joining us, that is a neighborhood right outside the campus. It's Villanova's right there along a beautiful neighborhood there on the main line. So this is affecting not only students in the campus but also residents in the area. So he's putting police tape up.
He's putting another one up. It must have been broken off. All right, so still an active situation here. No breaking down of the scene here, just fully securing it once again. If you look at this tree-lined street here, Spring Mill Road in Villanova, just full of law enforcement, full of flashing lights. Law enforcement agencies from multiple departments, every county in this area, Pennsylvania State Police, now confirmed by the governor of PA, are all here responding to this scene following reports of an active shooter. You would imagine these students and residents have just found the closest place they can get to, especially after that outdoor mass, the closest place they can get to shelter in place. We saw some pictures online of folks gathered in a closet, sheltering in place, just finding the first place they can reach in order to feel safe and secure. Now we have some officers heading in this direction. And just a short time ago, we did see the DA, the district attorney, walk toward the university as well, with really just brief information at this point. Let's check in with Dawn right now. Dawn, what's going on?
Well, Sheba, we're seeing some law enforcement actually leaving the scene, walking down the street the other way. They did not say anything, but we also have a Lower Marion police cruiser pulling out. So I don't know if that is any indication that things are calming down or the situation is under control, but we are now seeing law enforcement leaving as opposed to rushing up this street where we are. Still, hundreds of law enforcement from all across the Tri-County area, Delaware, Montgomery, and Chester counties here on scene, as well as state police. Radnor Township Police seem to be heading up this investigation and tweeting out. We also see some police officers up there on the hill there, walking up on the side of the campus there, armed. We did see another officer up in that general area just a short time ago. So kind of hard to say. We understand from Radnor Township Police that they are going building to building, searching for an active shooter situation. So, but as you mentioned, Sheba, I mean, families are dropping their children off to college. This is supposed to be a really exciting time, and now
we have a letter from the president of the university saying it was a, quote, cruel hoax. There was no active shooter, no injuries, no evidence of firearms present on campus. And he says, well, that would...
Now that's some bullshit.
Is a blessing. Boy, that's small to read, but while it was a blessing and relief, I know today's events have shaken our entire community.
At least didn't nobody get hurt.
From the president, Reverend Peter M. Donahue, the president of Villanova University, dated here today, August 21st, 2025, that is a cruel hoax. So, good news and just frustrating news. I mean, just a waste of everyone's panic and resources. He says, today, as we are celebrating Orientation Mass to welcome our newest Villanovans and their families to our community, panic and terror ensued with the news of a possible shooter at the law school. Mercifully, no one was injured, and we now know that it was a cruel hoax. So, I mean, I guess that's good news, but my goodness, Dawn, your reaction,
And Jason, that would explain why we're currently seeing police officers leaving the scene, pulling out, but just unbelievable, because to be here and see this police response, I have to tell you, was absolutely incredible. As we are getting out of our news van, we are seeing SWAT, armed police officers, law enforcement, geared up to the hilt, racing down the street for what they believed was an active shooter. And for all the people on campus, the student athletes, these freshmen, the orientation leaders, their parents, an absolutely frightening situation. And then to just hear right now from the president of the university that this was a cruel hoax is just unbelievable.
Well, you better believe whoever's responsible will be prosecuted to the fullest extent, whoever that is and however that came to be. And when a threat like this comes in, you have to take it seriously. And so you don't blame authorities for responding the way they did, for the alerts coming out the way it did. You have to take every report for what it is, at face value. But now it's...
Absolutely, you have to take it seriously because we've been on the other side of this, where students have been shot and killed, and I mean this was the response that was appropriate for what they thought was happening, and but it just has to be so unsettling. And what an awful way for these freshmen to be starting out their college experience, to have the university basically bombarded with law enforcement everywhere they looked, wondering if they're safe and wondering if there is a shooter out there.
Unnecessarily shaking up the community today. Students, residents.
Absolutely.
A waste of law enforcement resources. But some great points regarding the law enforcement response here. It was quick, it was immediate, it was taken seriously. But as the president has said, this has been a cruel hoax that they have now found out almost 2 hours later that there was no active shooter on the campus of Villanova University.
Reverend Peter M. Donahue, president of Villanova, saying, amid my thanks, he wanted to apologize to the first-year students and their families. He says, this is not the introduction to Villanova that I had hoped for you, and while I cannot do anything to relieve the unrest that you're feeling right now, I can offer a prayer. As generations of Villanovans know, this prayer is how I close orientation mass each year, which, by the way, they didn't get to finish the outdoor mass this year. They were interrupted today, so maybe they'll pick it up at some point tomorrow or maybe even later today. But just a terrorizing moment, but it's a sigh of relief tonight on the campus of Villanova, that's for sure. Law enforcement will, I presume, slowly trickle out one by one, because they were there by the hundreds from 3 different counties, the state, Radnor Township, and you name it, the Philly police were there earlier. So great job by those first responders to do what they are trying to do and to try to clear the room. And you know, at the very least, maybe it was a training exercise for them, but let's hope we never have to see them in this capacity again on any campus for that matter.
I just can't imagine what those students are dealing with right now. Dawn?
Yeah, I was going to say, and I'm sure we're going to learn more shortly from Radnor Township Police and law enforcement about exactly what this entailed, what was the hoax, where did they get the information that they obviously had to take so seriously. And we understand this mass, this outdoor orientation mass, it happens every year, it's outside, and from what we were hearing, the chairs were toppled over, I guess, as people heard the news and decided to seek cover and shelter in place. But certainly not the welcome that these students coming from all over the country to Villanova University, a prestigious university right here on the main line, expected on their orientation with their parents as they, get ready to start classes and embark on a new chapter in their lives. And I have to tell you, as a parent of, my daughter graduated from college a couple years ago, but I just can't even imagine the fear that these parents were feeling as well. And I would be afraid to leave my daughter at school having all of this unfolding. And even though it was a terrible hoax, it's just such an awful thing to have happen for these young students. They're 18, 19 years old. And Jason, you mentioned all the college athletes, the fall college sports that's going on right now, and the teachers and the orientation leaders. A lot of the orientation leaders are fellow students that volunteer to help get these students acclimated. It's just so upsetting for so many people.
Yeah, it's still a big scare for them. it's okay.
Right.
The threat is over. And do you just go back to your normal activities today? We as parents know these kids are not, some of them are not going to be able to do that today or tomorrow.
No, and some may not want to stay, to be honest with you. Some students may say to their parents, like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of emotions when you go off to college. And these kids are excited, they're scared, they're curious. And then to have this happen is
Frustrating,
really
to say the least.
frustrating, disappointing, frightening.
Yeah, all of the above, Dawn. Our hearts really go out to all of the students and families today. We're just now learning that shelter-in-place order has been lifted. Not sure where that information is coming from. That's what our producers are telling us right now. So that is from Villanova University. Shelter-in-place order lifted, which makes sense considering this letter that was put out by the president, Reverend Peter Donahue, calling this report of an active shooter a cruel hoax. Lengthy letter at that as well, so clearly some time to even draft this letter.
Yeah.
It was posted about 11 minutes ago.
Who jokes about something like this, right? I mean, back in the day, you pulled the fire alarm, and maybe that was a little too much. I mean, who jokes that there is or whatever, pranks that there is an active shooter on campus? These days, to do that, they're going to get to the bottom of whoever it is, and, make an example of that person, because this was an entire waste of resources, and parents and students, the scare of it all. This is going to be a day they never forget, and nothing happened. But they're still going to never forget this
Well,
moment.
thankfully.
Yeah, well, of course. I know. And this is the best case scenario. It's still a lot.
Right. And it could have ended so much differently. And, initial reports were that maybe one person was injured. Fortunately, that was not the case, and there was never any active shooter here on campus. But imagine getting that text. Imagine being with your student as a parent and seeing them get that text saying there's an active shooter on campus, shelter in place. Imagine living in these beautiful neighborhoods surrounding Villanova University and being told, do not leave your home because there is an active shooter. We are starting to see police officers leave the scene. They're walking back down from the road, from the hill where all the activity was. So you mentioned the shelter-in-place order has been lifted, and we are starting to see law enforcement come down the road and leave. I'm sure we'll be hearing from authorities shortly on some of the details of what was exactly involved in this hoax. Do they have a person in custody? Do they know who did this and why? And what kind of charges will they be facing?
Yeah.
Because, Jason, as you mentioned, the law enforcement response was immense and intense. And for nothing. It was a hoax.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think we can safely say at some point this evening we will get a press conference from either police
Absolutely.
or the university to help us sort through the events that happened at 4:30 the first call came in. So we're almost 2 hours in now, and so at some point when they can all get together and put their facts together, let us know, how did this happen?
Yeah, and how they reached the conclusion that it in fact was a hoax. We'd like to know more about that. Highly unlikely that law enforcement is just going to let this go. There will be a deep investigation into how this hoax even started. Again, those are the words from the Villanova president, calling it a cruel hoax, that there was not, in fact, an active shooter on campus after, geez,
I gotta think
about an hour of searching, more than an hour of searching buildings, trying to look for an active shooter that didn't exist.
Yeah, so what does this mean for the campus events? There were people, signing in and moving in, and a soccer game going on. Do you just start the game again, or do you say, let's just postpone this thing and be with our families for the rest of the evening at least? Sleep on it, wake up fresh tomorrow. Hopefully, you can put it behind you. After being shaken up, I don't know how you can just go back to business after hiding in a closet or something for 2 hours. It's a lot for especially these freshmen. So.
Of all of the endings we dreamt up today, right? We always hope that everyone is safe, that no one has lost their lives. So, in the grand scheme of things, this did end on a positive note.
Yeah.
In terms of injuries and fatalities. There was none of that. But who would have thought that it was a cruel hoax. We were starting to think that some of the clues were leading to that, but didn't want to say for sure. And now the president has confirmed that.
Here's a better
Still a large police presence on the scene there, but you can see some folks walking outside of the school buildings there as that shelter-in-place order has been lifted. Many of them still police officers right there on the side, and now traffic, at least, in the perimeter there, appears to be back to normal.
Neighbors, I'm sure, residents trying to get home at this point. This is, the workday is over, so probably heading home, but you can't get through Lancaster Avenue. So I'm sure eventually it'll trickle out, open up the roads and let people through. Students will be trickling out as well, and I want to hear from them at some point as well on just what their experience was like.
Yeah. What's next for them?
Is that a big
What
group?
that whole experience was like, sheltering in place, hiding in closets, trying to figure out the first place to move to shelter in place.
I wonder if
Looks
those
like
are
a large
students
group coming out of one of the buildings there.
or maybe some of those soccer fans who were hiding after watching a game and then sheltering in place as well. Hard to say, but the ambulances and police are going to be packing up and leaving shortly. So, again, we'll stay on top of this. Dawn, are you seeing anything on your end?
Any more law enforcement leaving the scene, Dawn?
Not really, but we are seeing some Villanova University students coming up the road here. Hey guys, can we talk to you? Can we talk to you?
Probably talking to their parents. Hey, Mom, we're okay.
Where were you when this all happened?
Yeah, we were in the law school studying, and then cops came in and told us to get out of the building. So, we just got out of the building as fast as we could, and it was pretty scary in there.
Are you a freshman? Are you, you're an upper class?
No, yeah, 1L in law school. It was our orientation too, so our last day of orientation.
I mean, how disconcerting is this? You're in the law school library and then told to leave because of an active shooter.
Yeah, it was pretty scary, but you know what? The cops had it under control, and they did a really great job of getting us out, so we're lucky that we had great police officers to get us out of the building, and, we're just lucky we're safe, so.
Where are you guys headed right now?
Headed to my apartment, getting off the scene, so, yeah.
And can you describe the scene? Because from where we are right now, we saw hundreds of law enforcement flying down the street, armed to the hilt. What were you seeing as you were being escorted out of the library and trying to get to safety?
Yeah, we saw pretty much the same thing as you guys. A lot of law enforcement on the scene. They were looking for the shooter or the perpetrator in the building. But it was definitely a scary scene, and they did a great job getting everyone out, and that's pretty much it.
Did you hear Villanova University president has said that it was a cruel hoax, that there was never an active shooter? Did you know that?
Yeah, we just got the email, we read it, and I'm just hoping for the best. Right?
What goes through your mind when you learn that somebody made this all up as you're on campus getting ready to start your year, and all the freshmen on campus too for their orientation?
You just feel bad for the freshmen. Families, it's something that, it's something that no one wants to go through, but, I'm just hoping and praying for everyone that was involved, and, I'm really hoping that it's true, that there was nothing that really went down, and that everyone's okay, so.
Where do you work yourself when this happened?
I was in the law school library, studying.
What is your name?
Nick.
And last name?
Niemczyk.
And how do you spell that?
Niemczyk, it's a tough one.
Yeah. Were you ever afraid for your own safety?
Yeah, initially we were definitely afraid for our own safety. We ran off campus, and a nice man let us into his home. He was very nice. We took shelter in there, and until we got the email from the university president that we were all clear to go, and we're very lucky. We're lucky to be safe, and it's great.
What was the phone call like with your parents? Were they freaking out?
Absolutely, they were very scared, but they were very grateful I was okay, and I'm just very lucky.
Where are you from?
I'm from New Jersey. Yeah, I'm end of New Jersey.
So you already talked to your parents?
Yep, yeah.
With your family?
Yes, I was lucky to communicate with my family, and I'm lucky that I was okay, and
What do you think is next?
what's next? Hopefully everyone can move on from this situation in a good manner and continue on with their lives, and be a part of the community. And I just, I hope everyone's safe, everyone's doing well, and, that's That's pretty much it, yeah.
All right.
Just hopefully I get some good grades this year. Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping. What's next, right? So yeah.
All right. Can you imagine something like this can happen where, in the place you study daily?
I think that unfortunately in today's world, yes. And it's a sad thing that I'm saying yes, but in today's world, this is unfortunately the life of, your average college student nowadays. It's happened on multiple campuses throughout the years, so it's definitely something that unfortunately is in the back of every student's mind.
Does it cause you to conduct yourself any differently when you saw that email? Do you worry about that, or do you think this is never going to happen, and then you get that text today saying active shooter?
Yeah, absolutely. You think it will never happen to you, but definitely the text was scary. And again, like I said, the law enforcement agencies were great getting us off the scene. We're very lucky to have great police officers and law enforcement agents that were able to get us out in a calm and efficient manner. So many thanks to them.
All right, thank you
Yep.
very much.
Absolutely.
Be safe.
Yeah.
I'm Nick, a great attorney.
A bit more inside information there from a law school student by the name of Nick from New Jersey.
That young man is going to be a great attorney, calm and cool under pressure. Beautiful closing statement from him. So best of luck to him.
Yeah, he's a calm, cool, collected guy. But
Yeah.
he gave us a little more information on how. Hold on for just a moment. He gave us a little more information on how the process went as far as evacuating everyone and having them shelter in place. So it's good to hear that police were actually there to escort the kids out of the law school there instead of, for the most part, everyone running for safety. So there was some organization to this effort to shelter in place, which again has been lifted.
Governor Josh Shapiro just tweeted here saying that the reports of an active shooter at Villanova today are unfounded and products of a cruel swatting incident. Okay, so that gives us a little bit more a glimpse of what happened when somebody calls it a fake threat to induce panic. So somebody called it in, it's illegal, and we're going to get to the bottom of whoever called that threat in. They easily can trace that, and don't know why, but it caused panic for everybody.
He went on to say that he's profoundly grateful that no one was hurt, and then further clarifying that yes, this is an illegal situation, but unfortunately swatting does happen a lot in this country.
So
Good news is, didn't nobody get hurt. Bad news is, well, you know what? It's not even no bad news. Thank God it was a host. Nobody didn't get hurt, and hopefully and prayerfully, Villanova does not have an actual incident of this ever happening. With that being said, to your parents with college age kids, don't be afraid to text them, call them up, all that. And to your college age kids that may see this, don't be afraid to let your parents know, what's up, how you doing, all that. With that being said, thank y'all for watching, listening, whatever, all that. Please like, share, subscribe. See y'all later. Peace.